The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is a movement aiming at the spiritual reorientation of mankind through the simple process of chanting the holy names of God. The human life is meant for ending the miseries of material existence. Our present day society is trying to do so by material progress. However, it is visible to all that in spite of the extensive material progress, the human society is not in peaceful condition. The reason is that a human being is essentially a spirit soul. It is the spirit soul which is the background of development of the material body. However, the materialist scientist may deny the spiritual existence in the background of the living force. There is no better understanding than accepting the spirit soul within the body. The body is changing from one form to another, but the spirit soul is existing eternally. This fact we can experience even in our own life. Since the beginning of our material body in the womb of our mother, the body is transforming from one shape to another in every second and in every minute. This process is generally known as growth, but actually it is change of body. On this earth planet, we see change of day and night and of seasons. The more primitive mentality attributes this change to changes occurring in the sun. For example, in the winter, they think the sun is getting weaker, and at night they presume sometimes that the sun is dead. With more advanced knowledge of discovery, we see that sun is not changing at all in this way. Seasonal and diurnal changes are attributed to the change of the position of the earth planet. Similarly, we experience bodily changes from embryo to child to youth to maturity to old age and to death. The less intelligent mentality presumes that at the death the spirit soul's existence is forever finished. Just like primitive tribes who believe that the sun dies at sunset. Actually, the sun is rising in another part of the world. Similarly, the soul is accepting another type of body. When the body gets old, like the old garments, and is no longer usable, then the soul accepts another body, just like we accept a new suit of clothes. The modern civilization is practically unaware of this truth. They do not care about the constitutional position of the soul. There are different departments of knowledge in different universities and many technological institutions to study and understand the subtle laws of material nature, medical research laboratories to study the physiological condition of the material body, but there is no institution to study the constitutional position of the soul. This is the greatest drawback of material civilization, which is external manifestation of the soul. They are enamored by the glimmering manifestation of the cosmic body or the individual body, but they do not try to understand the basic principles of this glimmering situation. The body looks very beautiful, working with full energy and exhibiting great traits of talent and wonderful brain work. But as soon as the soul is away from the body, all these glimmering situation of the body becomes useless. Even the great scientists who have discovered many wonderful scientific contributions could not trace out about the personal self which is the cause of such wonderful discoveries. The Krishna consciousness movement basically is trying to reach this science of the soul, not any dogmatic way, but in complete scientific and philosophical understanding. You can find out the background of this body as the soul and the soul's presence as perceivable by consciousness. Similarly, the presence of super soul and super consciousness in the universal body of cosmic manifestation is perceived by the presence of the Supreme Lord or the Absolute Truth. The Absolute Truth is systematically experienced in the Vedanta Sutra, generally known as the Vedanta philosophy, which is elaborately explained by a commentary by the same author of the Vedanta Sutras, known as the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Bhagavad Gita is the preliminary study of the Srimad Bhagavatam to understand the constitution position of the Supreme Lord or the Absolute Truth. The Absolute Truth is realized in three phases of understanding, namely as Brahman or the impersonal universal soul, Paramatma or the localized universal soul, and at the end as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. An individual soul is understood in three aspects, namely, first, in the consciousness pervading all over the body, then as the spirit soul within the heart, and ultimately exhibited as a person. Similarly, the Absolute Truth is first realized as impersonal Brahman, then as localized super soul Paramatma, and at the end as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Krishna means all-inclusive, or in other words, Krishna is simultaneously Brahman, Paramatma, and the Personality of Godhead. As such, every one of us is simultaneously consciousness, soul and person. This individual person and the Supreme Lord person are qualitatively one, but quantitatively different, just like the drop of seawater and the vast mass of seawater. Both are qualitatively one. The chemical composition of the drop of seawater and that of the mass of seawater are one and the same. But the quantity of salt and other minerals in the whole sea is many, many times greater than the quantity of salt and other minerals contained in the drop of seawater. Krishna consciousness movement maintains the speciality of the individual soul and the Supreme Soul. From the Vedic Upanishads, we can understand that both the Supreme Person or God and the individual person are eternal and living entities. The difference is that the supreme living entity or supreme person maintains all the innumerable living entities. In the Christian way of understanding, the same principle is admitted because in the Bible it is taught that the individual entity should pray to the Supreme Father for supplying means of maintenance and giving pardon for their sinful activities. So it is understood from any source of scriptural injunction that the Supreme Lord or Krishna is the maintainer of the individual living entities, and it is the duty of the individual entity to feel obliged to the Supreme Lord. This is the whole background of religious principle. Without this acknowledgement, there is chaos, as it is happening in our daily experience at the present moment. Everyone is trying to become the Supreme Lord, either socially, politically, or individually. Therefore, there is competition for this false lordship, and there is chaos all over the world, individually, nationally, socially, or collectively. Krishna consciousness movement is trying to establish the supremacy of the absolute personality of God. The human society is meant for this understanding because this consciousness makes his life successful. This Krishna consciousness movement is not a new introduction of the mental speculators. Actually, this movement was started by Krishna himself in the battlefield of Kurukshetra at least 5,000 years ago. The movement was presented by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. From this Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that this system of consciousness was spoken by him long, long before he imparted to the sun god Vivasvan. That calculation goes to show that before the repetition of the Bhagavad Gita in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, it was once before explained at least 40 million years ago. So this movement is not at all new. It is coming down from disciplic succession, and in India from all great leaders of the Vedic society like Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhyacharya, Vishnu Swami, Nimbarka, and lately, about 480 years ago, Lord Chaitanya. The principle is still being followed today. This Bhagavad Gita is also very widely perused in all parts of the world by great scholars, philosophers, and religionists. But in most cases, the principle is not followed as it is. Krishna consciousness movement means to present the principles of the Bhagavad Gita as it is, without any misinterpretation. In the Bhagavad Gita, we can understand 5 main principles, namely God, the living entity, the material or the spiritual nature, time, and activities. Out of these 5 items, God, the living entities, nature, material or spiritual, and time are eternal. But activities are not eternal. The activities in the material nature are different from the activities in the spiritual nature. In the material nature, although the spirit soul is eternal, as we have explained before, the activities are temporary. Krishna consciousness movement is aiming to place the spirit soul in his eternal activities. The eternal activities can be practiced even when we are materially encased. It requires simply direction, but it is possible under the prescribed rules and regulation to act spiritually. The Krishna consciousness movement teaches these spiritual activities, and if one is trained up in such spiritual activities, one is transferred to the spiritual world.
Hare Krishna. So we have published our Nectar of Devotion. So every one of you should read this Nectar of Devotion repeatedly. The whole substance of Vaishnava philosophy and activities, everything is there. So every one of you read this Nectar of Devotion once, twice, thrice, unless you have got full-fledged ideas what is this devotional service. That was written by, actually it was spoken by Lord Chaitanya to Rupa Goswami. For 10 days continually he instructed Rupa Goswami at Prayag, Darshan Ghat. You have seen the picture in TLC. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Allahabad, Prayag, and Rupa Goswami met him there. He was offering obeisances flat. You have seen that picture. So, at that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally gave him instruction, what is this cult of bhakti. So, for 10 days, and he took note of it, and later on he placed this book in the form of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That is in Sanskrit. It will be difficult for you. Therefore, I have presented a summary study. The summary study has come to 407 pages. If you have to elaborately describe each and every verse, then it would have come to at least 1,000 pages. So the whole substance is creamed. You should take advantage of this. And don't indulge in much unnecessary talks. Time should be very properly utilized. Ayusachanaya kopi na labhya sarna koti bhi. Value of time is so great that one moment of your life lost, it cannot be returned, even in exchange of millions of dollars. Therefore, every moment should be properly utilized.
In 1922, I was at that time very much engaged in Congress activities. I was very much a devout follower of Mahatma Gandhi. And at that time I was manager also in a very big chemical concern in Calcutta. Perhaps you may know Dr. Bose's laboratory. One of my friends is still living, Sri Narendranath Malik. He informed me that one saintly person has come. Let us go and see. At that time I was a young man and I did not care for very much about so-called saintly persons, because in our house my father used to receive so many sannyasis, but some of them
were not very to the standard, and due to my association with college friends, younger days, I lost my faith practically. Although I was born in a Vaishnava family, my father was a pure Vaishnava. From my childhood, he gave me Radha Krishna deity for worshipping a Ratha. I was playing with my boyfriends, Ratha Jatra, Dol, like that. My father encouraged. So I was trained up in this line, but in my youthful age, when I was college student, gradually, either bad association or something, gradually I lost my activities. But when this friend, Mr. Manli, took me to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, he immediately asked me that you are educated young boy, why don't you take up Lord Chaitanya's message and preach in the Western world? In a very fast sight, he told me. At that time, I argued with him that we are dependent nation and who is going to hear about our message? So, he defeated my argument. There is no necessity of closing. He defeated my arguments. He was a learned scholar. What I was a teeny boy. So, I agreed that I was defeated. So, after finishing our visit with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, I got some impression that here is a person who has taken Lord Chaitanya's message very seriously. Now it will be preached. My friend asked my opinion. Said, what is your opinion? So I gave this opinion. That here is a person who has taken Lord Chaitanya's movement very seriously, and now it will be preached. So that was in 1922. Then, in 1923, I left Calcutta on business account, and I started my business at Allahabad. But I was always thinking of my Guru Maharaj, although I was that time not initiated, but the impression was there. I was thinking, I met a very nice, saintly person. So, in this way, I passed from 1923 to 1928, I think. Then during Kumbh Mela, stop that noise, isn't it? In 1928, my Guru Maharaj, along with other disciples, came to Allahabad for starting their branch there. So, some gentleman known to me might have told them that the proprietor of such and such business, Prayag Pharmacy, is a very nice gentleman. He can help you in so many ways. So, they came to me, and I saw the same saintly person whom I met in 1922. I was very glad to receive. In this way, my connection was more intimate with my Guru Maharaj. And in 1933, I was initiated officially. Although I was initiated in 1922, but officially I was initiated in 1933. Although from 1922 to 1933, I was always thinking of His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. So in 1936, he was to pass away by 31st December. So I do not know, out of my own accord, I wrote him one letter that Guru Maharaj, you have got many disciples, some of you are directly serving you. I could not do so. I am a householder. So if you give me some direct service to you, it will be very kind of. So he replied that letter that you try to preach in English language, then the persons will be instructed by you and both yourself will be benefited. Again, he said the same thing which he ordered me in 1922 at the first sight. Then he passed away in 1936, 31st December. Then there are other God brothers. I consulted him that Guru Maharaj said like this, what can I do? So they also encouraged me. I was writing, there was a paper, Harmonist. Then by their desires I started this Back to Godhead in 1944. That was also started on his Advent Day, this Advent Day. Back to Godhead was started. Yes. There was a meeting and many friends came and we first started this Back to Godhead on his Advent Day. This Advent Day, 1944. So our paper Back to Godhead, the Advent Day is also today. Yes. Yes. So at that time there was no sale of Back to Godhead. I was publishing about 1,000 copies and distributing. So there was no income. I was spending 300, 400 rupees from my pocket. At that time I had income. Then gradually I wanted to remain as a grihastha and preach, but Guru Maharaj did not like this idea. I could understand. Sometime I was dreaming that he was calling me and I was horrified that I'll have to go away from home. So, at last, it happened so that I left my home in 1950 and became a Banaprastha. I was living sometimes here and there. In 1959, I took sannyas. But that Back to Godhead was going on. Then there was some inner dictation that this paper Back to Godhead I am publishing, people are taking. Some friend advised me that why don't you write some books? That will be nice. So then I began to translate Srimad Bhagavatam. And because I left home, so practically I had no income. With this Bhagavatam, Back to Godhead, I was selling and I was somewhere or other maintaining. And whatever little money I had, that was finished. And then when I wrote book, Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto was finished, so I approached Bhaiji, Paras Mataji, no, 1962. So I asked him that he take this publication. I am very much obliged to Bhaiji. He said that our English printing is not very efficient. You can get this book published somewhere else. I shall partly help you. So he helped me with some money from the Dalmia Trust. And I first of all published my first part of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then I published second part also. There was sale. Then there was no necessity of money. I was getting money by selling Srimad Bhagavatam. Everyone appreciated. In your American embassy here, they purchased 18 copies and they gave me open order that whenever this Bhagavad will be published, next part, subsequent part, this is open order, 18 copies, each part. That order is still there. So after publishing 3 parts, completing, then automatically Guru Maharaj gave me indication that now you can start for America. So somewhere around 1965, I went to America with great difficulty. But I took about 200 sets of books. The custom clearance was done. I told them that I am taking this book for distribution, not for sale.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna,
There are many satsanga societies, but in Europe and America, Western countries, this is the only. And they have very kindly joined us. So to serve them is our first business. So we are talking of teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami was one of the very responsible ministers in the then government of Bengal. And as minister, he was a learned scholar, both in Sanskrit and Arabic. So he resigned his post as minister and wanted to join Lord Chaitanya in his Sankirtan movement. And he had some difficulties to get out of the responsible position. The Nawab, Hussain Shah, was very much counting upon his assistance. Generally, the Mohammedan kings, they were dependent on Hindu ministers. I have heard that in this Bombay city, Aga Khan, his establishment and management were all Hindu officers. I do not know whether it is a fact. Is it a fact?
Sure.
Yeah. They know that Hindus can manage very intelligently. They are not extravagant. So, Sanatana Goswami was favored by Lord Chaitanya by instructing him for 2 months, he created 2, 3 lieutenants for preaching his cult. One of them was Rupa Goswami, one of them was Sanatana Goswami, the chief of the Goswamis. And he talked with also Ramananda Rai, another stalwart. He was also statesman. He was governor of Madras on behalf of the then king of Orissa, Maharaj Pratap. He was very powerful king. The Mohammedans, the Pathans, they practically conquered all over India, but they could not enter Orissa. He was a very strong king. And in those days, Madras was under the Orissa government. So another responsible officer. So he was another big officer, governor. He also joined Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And these two brothers, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they were ministers in the government of Hussain Shah. They also joined. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he was also a big zamindar, landlord. So he also joined. And a big scholar, he also from Madras, like Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And Jiva Goswami, he was also a very big scholar. He happened to be from Bengal. In this way, 6 Goswamis, they were immediate disciples of Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya's instruction to them, directly he gave instruction to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami and Ramananda Rai. So one of the Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing at Benares. So his proposition was that some people, my neighborhood people or my dependents, government officers, they call me as a learned scholar, Pandit. Of course, it is a system in India that a Brahmin is addressed as a Pandit because he is supposed to become a learned scholar. Brahmin's business is to study Vedic literatures and teach others also, Pathan. He must be scholar and he must make others also scholar, not that he simply remains a scholar. No, that is bad. Brahmin is so liberal that he wants to make others also scholar. Pathan, jajan. Jajan means worshipping the Lord, and jajan means helping others. Priest, priestly business. Priest means he helps the householders how to become Krishna conscious. Purohit means one who does welfare activities for the householders. Purohit. The jajan, pathan, and dana pratigraha. Brahmin business is to take charity from his disciples, followers, and again spend it for Krishna's service. So, these 6 kinds of business is for the Brahmins, and they are supposed to be very learned, Panditji. Brahman's position is Pandit. So he was called Pandit, and he was actually Pandit. But he presented himself as a fool, although he was learned. He presented himself, my dear God, People say that I am very learned, but actually I do not know what I am, where from I have come, why I am suffering. First of all, we do not know that we are suffering in every state. Why you are using this fan? Because you are suffering. Because the excessive heat we cannot tolerate, suffering. Similarly, in the winter season, this wind will be another suffering. We have to close the doors tight so that air may not come. Now the air is counteracting suffering. And in other seasons, the same air will be suffering itself. So, the air is the cause of suffering and it is so-called cause of happiness also. Actually, we are simply suffering. That we do not know. But we get information from Lord Krishna that this place is dukkhalayam asasatam. It is a place for miseries. You cannot expect any happiness. That is our foolishness. That is our foolishness. We are trying to adjust things to become happy, but we are so foolish that we do not know there cannot be any happiness. This is called ignorance. This is called ignorance. That what Bhagavad says, parabhavastavad abodhajata. Abodhajata, every one of us born foolish. And we are acting in different ways to become happy. But we do not know that every step we are being defeated. We are fighting with the stringent laws of nature, struggle. But we are happy by some complacent thoughts that we are becoming happy. We are advanced. We are happy. We are becoming educated, we are advanced in science. But Bhagavad says, no, you are not advancing, you are simply being defeated. Because you do not know how to get happiness. You are not trying for real happiness. So this ignorance is dissipated by the knowledge of the Vedas. Lord Chaitanya therefore has said, Krishna will say that because we are so foolish, we have forgotten how to become happy. Therefore, Krishna has made so many Vedic literatures. Ataye Krishna Veda Purana Karila. So we should take advantage of these Vedas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore says, we have already talked now, he said, Sadhu Shastra Kripai Jodi Krishna Mukh hoy. This is Bengali, I think you understand, I will explain it in this one. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's proposal is, by the mercy of sadhu, holy man, or saintly person, or devout. Who is it? Sadhu. We know this term, sadhu. Sadhu means saintly person. But actually, there are different kinds of sadhus. Generally, people accept a sadhu when he is dressed in the saffron garment. But there are different types of sadhus. Mahatma. Some of them may be Gyanis who wants to merge into the Brahma effulgence. And another sadhu may be yogis, those who are trying to the same ambition to merge into the Supreme by finding out in the heart. Yogina. Pasantijam yogi. Dhyanavasthita manasa. By meditation, meditative mind, dhyanavasthita manasa, yanga pasanti yogina. Yogina, they are trying to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead by meditative mind. That is yogi. That is also sadhu. And bhaktas, just like we are taking the path of devotional service to serve Krishna at any cost. We don't think anything greater than the service of the Lord. That is a bhakta's position. Anukullena Krishnanusilanam. That is bhakti. Simply to serve Krishna, favorite, Krishna conscious, always thinking of Krishna, how he will be satisfied. Not thinking of Krishna, how I shall kill him. That is conscious Krishna conscious. Conscious was always thinking of Krishna. But his business was to make plan how to kill Krishna. Not that sort of Krishna consciousness. Our Krishna consciousness is anukullena, favorite. How Krishna will be satisfied. Although conscious Krishna consciousness helped him, he got liberation. Krishna consciousness is so nice that if you become Krishna conscious unfavorably, still you get the immediate profit being liberated. For which the Jnanis and Yogis are trying hundreds of years. Krishna is so nice. If you simply think that I shall kill Krishna, I shall kill Krishna. There is a story in the Bhaktamala Grantha that a Pandit was reciting Bhagavad and he was describing Shamsundar. Mother Jashoda was decorating with all jewels, very nicely, to go is discovered by friends with the curs and cows, Shamsundar, and in the forest of Vrindavan. So, one thief was also hearing that Srimad Bhagavad. So he thought it wise, why not go to Vrindavan and get all these ornaments from this wife? They are all boys, so either I can kill them or somehow or other cheat them, get this ornament. That's a long story, I am started. So with that spirit, he went to Vrindavan to find out Shamsundar to exploit him, to take all the ornaments from him. But when he actually went to Vrindavan, he was finding out very Shamsundar, very Shamsundar. Shamsundar came and here I am. So, first of all he was writing, my dear boy, you give me all these ornaments, I'll give you nice things. He said, no, I cannot give you, my mother will be angry. No. In this way, then he decided that I shall take forcibly. In this way, simple way association of Shamsundar he became good. That is the fact. Dhruva Maharaj also went to worship Shamsundar, Krishna, to get the kingdom of his father. He was insulted by his stepmother that you cannot sit down on the throne or in the lap of your father because you are not born from my womb. So he took it very serious. He went to his mother, and my stepmother insulted him like this. So his mother said, my dear boy, yes, it is a fact. Because you are not born from my, what is called, wives, and the womb, I am unfortunate, you are born of my womb, so you cannot So, then I must have. The boy was very insistent, Kshatriya was. Then Krishna helps you, then you can. Otherwise, how you cannot? Then he went to search out Krishna in the jungle, and he searched out. And when he saw Krishna, he said, Samin kitatosmi paramrajaya. No more I want Gita. No more I want. This is the problem. So, pure bhakti is without any desire. But even if you are filled up with desires, you go to Krishna. Don't go to other territories. Akama sarvakama moksha kama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena jajeta paraman purush. Even if you have desires, not that unnavilasita sunnam, without any material desires. Generally we go to temple, to God, for fulfilling some material desires. So Shastra says, even if you have got material desires, even if you are not Shuddha Bhakta, what to speak of Shuddha Bhakta? Even if you are enemy of Krishna, somewhere or other go to Krishna. Go to the fire and you will get work. That is our Prabhupada. The Goswamis comment therefore. Jena tena prakarena mana Krishna nivesa. Somehow or other, you just try to become Krishna conscious. Then everything will be successful. That is our Prabhupada. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Sadhu Shastra Kripa. A sadhu means devotee. That I am going to explain. A sadhu, there are different kinds of sadhus, but only the devotee, he is sadhu. It is explained by Krishna himself. Opiches sudurachar bhajati mam anannabha sadhurev sama. He is sadhu. Even if we find some defects in him due to his former habit, but he is simply engaged in Krishna's service, unflinching devotee, he is sadhu. He is sadhu. In spite of some defects there may. Even in fire there are some defects. Fire is so pure that anything impure you put into the fire, it becomes pure. Whereas, you know, in our Hindu system, if one utensil becomes impure sometimes, we put it into the fire and it becomes pure. Is it not? Is it not? In Bengal, this is this. So fire is considered to be pure. Therefore, any ceremony is done before fire god. So, Krishna says that where fire is so pure, still there are some defects, there is more. So if you want to find out defects, you will find out in fire. But that doesn't matter. Fire is fire. Similarly, a devotee, an unflinching devotee, without any other desires, who is dedicated to the service of the Lord, he is sadhu. So we have to take shelter of the sadhu, adu gudbhatan. And sadhu will instruct you, not by wings, but through Shastra. He is sadhu. Sadhu will never speak to anything which is not in the Shastra. Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. And Guru is bona fide spiritual master who follows Sadhu and Shastra. Who follows, he is bona fide spiritual master, and who follows the instruction of Shastra, he is Guru. Sadhu, Shastra, Guru, Bhakta, Tinete Koriya. Narottam Das Thakur says that you have to act by accommodating the instruction of sadhu, instruction of Shastra, and you have to do. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that these ignorant people who are being defeated, such persons, They are being entangled in this materialistic way of life, in this material world. Krishna bhuliya. He said, Krishna bhuli sei jeev anadi bohirmo. Anyone who has forgotten Krishna, he is anadi bohirmo. He is enamored by this external energy, material world. Just like in the Bombay city, everyone is working hard, very hard. The ambition is, how I shall be able to construct a skyscraper building. That's all. Why they are working so hard? The ambition is that I must have a skyscraper, a house, a good apartment, a nice wife, nice children, and nice bank balance, then. But he does not know how long this thing will continue. 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years, then finish. Your skyscraper building, your nice wife, your apartment, your dress, everything that you are going. You do not know where you are going. That you do not know. There is risk. Jam jam vapi smaran loki tajat. At the time of death, everything will be examined. What are you going to be next? You have to accept another body. So that body will be created in this life. Jam jam vapi. And that bodily structure will be formed at the time of your death. Just like if you leave this apartment, you will have to go another apartment. So you have to select another apartment, good or bad, that will depend on your capacity, how much rent you are able to pay. And then you leave this apartment. Similarly, at the time of death, by the superior arrangement, another apartment will be given to you, and immediately that is settled up, you leave this body and enter the life. Daivanetrena, karmana, daivanetrena. That will be considered by your work. If your works are nice, that is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Janti devam prata divan, pitri janti pitri prata, bhutani janti bhuteja. Madhyadino pi janti ma. So if you have prepared your life for going to the higher planetary system, in the moon planet or sun planet, or there are so many hundreds of thousands, millions of planets, up and similarly down, similarly in the middle. Chaturdash bhuvan, 14 worlds. So, Udham gacchati sattasva. If you have developed satagun, then you will be allowed to go to the upper planet. Udham gacchati sattasva. Madhye tishtanti rajasa. Jahanna gunavrittisya adho gacchanti tamasa. So we have to see from the shastras, our shastras. So this is the position. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained that sometimes we are elevated to the Sarvalok, sometimes we are going to the Naraklok. In this way it is going on. But this is not our good business. Now suppose I am in this good apartment, say for 6 months, and next, if I cannot pay the rent, I have no means, then I have to, what is it called? Jhopri. There are jhopris also in Bombay. So not that because one is in Bombay, he is always in the skyscraper. He may be in jhopri also. So, everyone wants. So this is going on. Kavu Sarve, Kavu Narake. Sometimes in the heavenly planet, sometimes in the Hades planet. This is going on. But this business is not good. No. Nasadhu manne. Even if you get the body of the heavenly planet, what you get? There is also Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. You have to die there. When Brahma dies, Brahma Bhuvana Lokam Punarao. So this is the process going on. Therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says कि साधु शास्त्र कृपा यदि कृष्ण मुक्त. Our only business is how to become Krishna conscious. How to become Krishna conscious. That can be done simply by the mercy of sadhu. Therefore sadhu's business is go from door to door and enlighten them. Mahat vichalanam nina grina dina chetasa. The sadhu's business is that he goes from door to door and tries to invoke Krishna consciousness, dormant Krishna consciousness. In everyone's heart there is Krishna consciousness. It is in the sleeping state. Just like these European and American boys. Unless there is Krishna consciousness dormant, how it could be invoked? It is not sentiment. It was there. Our business was just to arouse. Savanadi Shuddha Chitte Karo Nitya Siddha Krishna Bhakti Sadha Gavunat Sravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karo Udar. This is the statement of Chaitanya Charitamrita. The Krishna consciousness is already there, but by hearing and purifying yourself, that consciousness comes. Just like water. Water is very clean. When it drops from the cloud, it is very clean. But as soon as it drops on the ground, it becomes muddy. So that muddiness has to be clean, then water will come out again clean. Similarly, our consciousness is clean, Krishna consciousness, actually, originally. But because it is contaminated with the muddy things of the material nature, it is clouded. So this process, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, is the cleaning, clarifying process of the consciousness. Clarifying process. Cheta darpana marjanam bhavaha davar virupapanam. If we take to this clarifying process, then it will be just like as clear as mirror, and you will be able to see your face nicely. What I am. Then you will understand that I do not belong to this material world. I belong to the spiritual world. Aham Brahmasmi. And when you realize that, then if you can act yourself as Brahma, then your life is such. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nasodasi Nakam. Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madhbhakti Lavate Param. That is the beginning of devotional. Where Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the sadhu shastra kipaya jadi Krishna mukh hoy, sei jeev nistare. Nistare means he becomes delivered. If somehow or other he becomes Krishna conscious, by the mercy of a sadhu, and by understanding the shastra, if somehow or other he becomes lean to Krishna consciousness, then he is eligible for being delivered from this miserable condition of material life. Maya tare charo. Then this illusion, Maya, releases all life. Here now. That is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Daividjesa mama gunamani mama maya durattaya mamivaja prapatnante maya metang karati. The simple problem that you surrender to Krishna and Maya immediately gives you release. Oh, no more. That's all. Yes? Any question? So this Krishna consciousness movement is very scientific, authorized and practical and very simple. You all take to do and be happy. That is our program. If you have got any question, you can ask. We shall hold class here in the morning at about 5:30, 6, and in the evening at 7, 7:30. Any question? Then I'll keep on.
Krishna